All right. Looks like we're live now. Look like everything's working. Same routine as always. We're going to get the disclaimers out of the way, and then we'll jump into it. So this is the weekly live broadcast, pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am, and you can come in here. You can ask me questions. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't really care. No topic, for the most part, is taboo. We can talk politics. We can talk religion. We can talk all that controversial stuff because I believe we can have differences of opinions and still be friends. The only things I ask is be polite, be family friendly. Don't start cussing at us. Don't call anybody names or any of those kinds of things. Don't be hateful with anybody because, like I said, we can all be friends and have differences of opinions, and that's okay. We don't want to have to kick anybody out. So other than that, pretty much everything is fair game. Let's jump in. We only got a couple of people here so far. Well, we got 13 people joining now. 5 likes already, so we're well on our way. There's Joy says, hello, all from Western Oregon. We've gone from snow and freezing weather a week ago to me hearing frogs in the barn. Yeah, it's that time of year. It's crazy how fast spring comes on when it does come on. We were negative 8 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, when I woke up this morning. It's not much warmer than that right now, and it's cold. It's super cold outside. We got about 5-6 inches of snow on Tuesday, and now like Monday or Tuesday of next week, it's gonna be like 65 degrees. So a drastic change for sure. Jacob says hello to all. Hello to you too. Thanks for joining us. Roy says, me and my rabbits consume grass. Okay. Andy Rabbit says hello. Good to see you. Shane says, good evening from Seals Family Farm in Mount Herman, Louisiana. Good to see you, Shane. Thanks for joining us. Brixton says, here from Missouri. It's cold here, but looking forward to the 40s this week. Yeah, this weekend. Yeah, no kidding. I don't know what part of Missouri you're in. I'm in Southwest Missouri as well. I don't know if you're in Southwest or what, but yeah, I was just saying that. It's cold. It's like, it was negative 8 degrees when I woke up this morning. That's the actual temperature. The wind chill made it like negative 20 or something. I don't know. But anyhow, but yeah, it's going to be like 35 on Saturday, I think, and 40 something on Sunday, and then just keep climbing. We're going to be 65 by Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that too, actually. Chester Hickman says, good evening. Good evening to you. Good to see you. Andy Rabbit said, it's cold here too. We got snow and school has been closed all week. Yeah, I think the schools have been closed all week around here too. I actually had 2 days, 2 snow days from work. Tuesday, they canceled work. I had some work to do and I could work from home, so I did a lot of that. Did it all really on Tuesday. Didn't have a whole lot of work to do on Wednesday, so I shoveled the sidewalk. Now my back's kind of hurting a little bit it's all right though, not too bad. David Bringleson says, hello, Chris. Well, hello to you too. Thanks for joining. Andy Rabbit says, what time did you wake up? Oh, I don't know. It was 4:30, 5 o'clock. It was about 4:30 probably this morning, somewhere right around in there. Let's see. Chester Hickman says, just had a litter of blue New Zealand yesterday. Well, awesome. Congratulations on that. Hopefully they're doing well. Bart McDonald says, also from Southwest Missouri, Jane area. Yeah, I know exactly where Jane is. Yeah, we got a couple of Show Me Staters in here. Yeah, Jane is way down there, almost Arkansas. I say way down there. It's not that far from me. I'm in Joplin, so you know where Joplin is, I'm sure. And, it's an hour drive maybe. David Bringleson says, hit the like button. Yeah, we got 13 people hitting like already. Farmer Marshall says, hey, everyone, it's cold here in Georgia. 8A? What is 8A? Is it 8 degrees? Is that what that's supposed to be? 8 degrees is cold, for sure. We're right there with you. Joe Sandy says, hey, everybody, Sandy here from Southeast Michigan. Hope you're all staying warm. So far, so good here. Andy says, I had to take I had to take the hubby to the ER for his back this morning. Uh-oh. Hopefully everything's okay there. Mine's nowhere near that bad. It's just a little stiff. I just feel like I did something, yesterday, which I did. Andy Rabbit says, might have been from shoveling snow yesterday. Well, that's probably what mine's from too, but it's not sending me to the hospital or anything. It's not that bad. Joe Sandy says, it's bitter cold here again. I'm looking forward to spring. Yeah, me too. Spring is feeling pretty. It's going to feel pretty good. I'm getting anxious for it. David says 22 Watching only 12 likes. Well, that's okay. They'll get their likes in. We got 16 likes now. Brixton says, got a Polish rabbit due this Saturday. Hopefully I get some good ones for the show. They aren't for meat. Well, nice. Hopefully you do. I don't know a whole lot about showing rabbits. I've never done it. It's never been a thing that I've been into. But hopefully you get some good ones for the show. Hopefully it works out well. Andy Rabbit says, woke up around 6:30 a.m. It was -1 when I got up. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it was -8 when I got up, but it warmed up to -1. So by the time I went to work, it was -1. Farmer Marshall says, Grow Zone 8A. Oh, gotcha. It's cold here in Georgia. Grow Zone 8A. Okay, I'm with you now. That makes more sense. I was looking for a temperature. Have my mind on that for some reason. So anyway, Warchild says, hey, all. Hello to you too. Good to see you. So I don't know how everybody's week has been. Like I said, I had 2 days off basically. Well, I mean, I worked on Tuesday. I just did it from home. Had a pretty complex thing I had to work on, and it was kind of nice actually, getting able to work on that and no other distractions, nothing going on. Just could focus on that, and I got it done. And then yesterday was pretty boring actually because there wasn't anything to do. Carrie, my sister, Carrie Quattlebaum is here. Says hello from North Carolina. Yeah, she recently moved from Missouri to North Carolina, and I got to tell you, you're missing out on all this cold weather we're getting right now, all the snow. We got like 5 inches of snow, maybe 6 inches. I don't know. Maybe it was even close to 7. It was a lot of snow. We got a lot of snow yesterday, day before yesterday, and you missed it. Bev Smith says, good evening, everyone. Good to see you, Bev. Thanks for joining. Joe Sandy says, did you catch either of your escaped rabbits? No. No, I have not caught either one of them yet. I've got a trap set. Cannot get them caught. I've got a video I'm shooting on it. I'll post it whenever it's all said and done. But no, haven't caught either one. I do have a camera out there at the rabbit hutch now. I haven't seen anybody out there messing with things. Of course, I haven't had any issues. Did have a couple of dogs stop by. But actually, they had 2 pit bulls. I woke up one morning. It was like just a day or two after I put the camera up. Woke up and the alarm, the notification was going off on my phone. It was pretty early. It was about 4:00 in the morning. And I went out there with a flashlight, and there were 2 pit bulls out there harassing the rabbits. And as I walked outside the gates, and hollered at them, and one of them came around and kind of came at me and was growling and barking like I thought he was going to jump on me. But he stopped short, like he didn't realize what I was or something. He was just in the moment, and stopped short, turned around, ran off, and took his buddy with him. So anyway, I don't know if I don't know. I don't think the dogs could have got those rabbits out of there. But either way, lost 2 rabbits. I've only seen one running around. I don't know if there's 2 out there. Maybe I've seen one at one time, one at another time. Haven't seen them in a couple of days. I don't know if this cold front, has anything to do with that. But no, I have not caught them yet. Bev Smith says, I also took the first 3 days off this week building some new raised garden beds. Oh, that must be nice. There was no gardening being done here. Everything's frozen. Robert says, hello from Northeast Arkansas. Good to see you, Robert. Thanks for joining. Andy Rabbit says, hello, Chris's sister. Well, she has her own identity, actually. Her name's Carrie, but that's okay. And then Carrie, my sister, says, we actually had a bit of snow and ice here as well. Kids have 3 snow days this week. Yeah, it's been, school's been closed all week here. I think it's closed again tomorrow. The side roads are still totally trash. I mean, they're bad. Main roads are pretty clear now, though. Andy Pearson says, good evening. It was up -12 up here in Kansas City this morning. Only 3 to 4 inches of snow this time. Yeah, I saw the news there. It hit you guys before it hit us, and they were showing, pictures of it and like video and stuff going on. I think you had probably the majority of it already there, and it was just getting started here. But yeah, only got 3 to 4 inches, huh? That's not too bad. Still a pretty decent amount of snow. Andy Rabbit said, I had a dog that would open rabbit cages. If the rabbit jumped out, she would eat it. She would not touch them if they stayed in the cage. Interesting. Yeah, I can't imagine the dog could have opened these cages. I mean, they're hard for me to open. So I can't imagine the dog would open them, especially the one with the one where the rabbit got out of that's still out running around. I mean, that cage wasn't even open. I mean, unless the dog figured out how to open it, get the rabbit out, and close it back. I can't imagine that was the case, but who knows? Let's see. Bev Smith says supposed to be low of 36 tomorrow morning. Freezing for Florida. Yeah, that is. Well, 36 is pretty chilly. David says, correct me if I'm wrong, New Zealand doe to Cali buck gives the best yield. Well, I mean, not necessarily the absolute best, but yeah, really good yield. I mean, up there with the best yields for sure. You can't go wrong with a New Zealand doe and a California buck. That's a good combination, and you should get great results out of that. I wouldn't say the best yields necessarily, but nowhere near the word. I mean, up there with the best. So yeah, that's a good combination. You can't go wrong with that at all. All right. Oh, we ran to the end of the chat here for a second. Let me grab a drink. We'll see if something else comes through. And I don't have anything good planned out to talk about. I just looked down and realized it's all my paperwork for my taxes. I got to do my taxes. Haven't done those yet. Got some time to do them though, so not a big rush there. All right. Everybody still there? We got no chat coming in. Just kind of everything's dying. Bev says, me too, huh? Yeah, tax is not fun, huh? Andy Pearson says, how much meat do you get in a year from your rabbits? I don't know. I get people ask me that all the time. It varies from time to time. Lately, I've been selling a lot of them because, I've been selling those silver fox rabbits, their pedigree. Been selling them for $30 a rabbit. Well, that's a lot. That's worth a lot more than 5 pounds of rabbit meat to me. And wouldn't even be 5 pounds. It'd probably be more like 4-ish, 3.5 or something. After you dress it out and all. So that's a whole lot. That's worth a whole lot more. I've been buying other meat with it. So it's hard for me to say exactly how much. I don't breed super heavy, but I can get. I mean, you can get a ton of meat out of your rabbits in just 1 year for sure. So I'm sorry I can't answer that question exactly. I don't know how much. Depends on how much I breed. Usually I get about four litters or so out of each one per year. The silver fox tends to have about 5 to 6 rabbits per litter. So that's say 5 or 4 litters. Let's just do a little bit on the low side. So what's that? 24 rabbits. Is that right? If we say 6 at each litter. 24. So, 5 pounds roughly. Well, probably, like I said, more like 3.5 to 4 whenever you dress it out. So let's say 3.5 pounds, that's 70-ish pounds of meat a year. That's rough math in my head. Probably not right. You can tell how well I do math in my head. But anyway, that's out of 1 rabbit. That's, or well, 2, because I got a buck and a doe. But yeah, that's about right. And, if you've got a good, like a New Zealand or something like that, those does usually produce closer to like 10 in a litter. So, say I'd probably average out somewhere around 9-ish by the time you'll lose 1 or 2 here or there or whatever, 9 per litter. You can do the math on that and figure that one out. Joe Sandy says, have you ever dispatched a rabbit that with one of those bolt things? I don't know exactly what they're called. I'd like to have meat rabbits, but not sure I could dispatch them. I know exactly what you're talking about. Hang on, there's more here. It says I can do quail, but that's bad enough. Those eyes would do me in. Yeah, well, I'll tell you a couple of tips for that. Well, first of all, I've never used one of those bolts. I know exactly what you're talking about, the bolt guns for dispatching. They look like they would probably work pretty well. I have used pellet guns, basically the same concept. You just, put a pellet down there like that. And it works fairly well. 22 caliber pellet actually works really well for that. And I'll tell you what makes it a lot easier to process them is if you don't handle them a whole lot and don't get them super tame. And then when you pick them up, they start kicking and they scratch you. And that makes it a lot easier to dispatch them because it gets your butt blood going a little bit, makes it a little bit easier to put that down. But just don't overthink it. That's really what it comes down to is that whenever you go to dispatch one, it's just, try not to overthink it. Just do it. You just kind of go through the motions and do it and be done. That's really what it is. But it's not an easy thing, and it shouldn't be an easy thing to do. I mean, it should be something that you take a little bit of time with, or not. I shouldn't say take time. I don't know how to say it. It should be something that you don't take lightly. That's what I mean to say, I guess. Brixton says, I switched from bottles to bowls for the rabbits. I keep having troubles getting them to drink from the bowls because They've been on bottles for their whole life. Any tips? They'll figure it out. I mean, if they're thirsty, they'll drink from it. They'll figure it out. I mean, you're talking about an open bowl of water. There's not much you're going to have to do. They'll drink from it. You don't have to worry about it. But it's harder to go the other way around, to go from bowls to like water bottles or water nipples. Nipples are hard to train a rabbit to in a way. Bev Smith says, I'm planning on sending a friend in a different state some quail eggs as a housewarming gift. I know I need a NPI number to sell eggs outside of the state, but can I gift them? Like, do USPS check? I don't think so. I think if you just send them to him, I doubt USPS checks on it. I don't really think so, but I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask them, I suppose. Andy says, how do you market the ones you sell? Normally, I just make a post on Craigslist. That's it. And I sold pretty much all of them out of the last litter. And like I said, at $30 a rabbit, that's really worth more than the rabbit meat to me. I mean, I can buy steak for that, quite a bit of steak. Well, probably 2 or 3 steaks. Not a lot, but steak nonetheless. Farmer Marshall says, similar question. How many quail do you cull per year? Ever get tired of eating them? We go through periods where we don't eat a lot of quail, and then we go through periods where we eat more quail. I wouldn't say I necessarily get tired of them, but it is nice to have some other variety in there. How many I go through in a year, I don't know, honestly. A lot. A lot of quail. I couldn't tell you how many. I mean, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 or 400. I don't know. S.O. Swanson says that you do need NPIP to ship, not just sell. PO doesn't require paperwork. Hint, don't get caught. There you go. Yeah, the catching's before the hanging is what I've always heard, right? Bev Smith says, thanks, Steve, for the advice. I was looking for. Yep. SO says, don't market it as eggs, market it as hobby supplies. There you go. That's a good suggestion. Andy Rabbit says, Bev, use your enemy's name as a return name. Hopefully you don't have any enemies. So Swanson says, Andy, are you telling her to use my name? Bev says, I also call a lot of quail per year and may eat like 3 of them. The rest are for the 7 dogs. Well, there's nothing wrong with that either. Big Ross says, how many quail would it take to replace a dozen chicken eggs a week? Well, you can figure it takes about 5 eggs, roughly 5 quail eggs to equal 1 chicken egg. So if you want to replace a dozen chicken eggs, 5 times a dozen would be somewhere in the neighborhood. What's that? Like 50, 60 eggs, right? 60 quail eggs. So if you wanted to replace that in a week, you figure most of the hens are going to lay an egg a day. So you would need, over the course of 7 days, roughly 10 birds. That'd give you a little overkill. That'd give you more like 70 eggs, but you may lose 1 or 2 here or there. They may not, lay for a day or whatever. So somewhere around 10 birds should give you close to 70, 65-ish eggs a week, which would equal about a dozen chicken eggs. Hopefully that makes sense. Andy Rabbit says math. Yeah, I don't mind math so much, but sometimes it's tricky to do in my head. I get used to, I'm a data analyst / developer. I guess I'm starting to get into a lot of development stuff, but I'm a data analyst primarily. And, so I don't mind math at all, but I just prefer to let the spreadsheets do it for me and not have to do it myself. Big Ross says, thanks. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Yeah, with the price of eggs in the supermarkets right now, I mean, it's been going pretty crazy. I actually went to the store today to get some stuff for the dog and whatnot. But anyhow, I took a look at the eggs. I hadn't been really paying much attention to it because I have my own eggs. But it was roughly $6 a dozen for eggs. So 50 cents an egg, basically. Buck Reynolds says, hello, everyone. Hope all is well. All is well here. Hopefully it is for you too. Joe Sandy says, I've been trying to buy one of those waters you have. It seems like it may have been discontinued or something. I can't find it anywhere in stock. Are you talking about the heated water for the quail? Let me check something out. Because it's in my Amazon shop. I didn't know it was out of stock. Let me check. Yeah, the one in my Amazon shop says free delivery Sunday, February 23rd. It's still looks like it's still in stock. Says only 9 left. The price has gone up a little bit, but yeah, it's still there. It's ready to go. Sax Place says, thanks for the VIGs. Getting ready to pull the trigger on my first quail egg order. Well, awesome. Hopefully that goes well. Joe Sandy says, I'm tired of changing frozen water. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, that heated water has worked really well. I will tell you, I mean, I'm using it right now. We were -8 degrees this morning. Water was fine. No, not frozen at all. So Swanson says that Tractor Supply has the heated water. Andy Rabbit said, I looked at eggs the other day. They were around $7. Wow. Crazy. That won't last forever. It'll come back down. Bev Smith says, so what is it with quail? Are they all jerks? Basically, I'm going to translate that. Says, I'm about to send my one and only English white rooster to freezer camp. You know, I have said it for a long time. When I had the white birds, whether you want to call them English whites, Texas A&M, whatever, they were all white quail. They were the most aggressive ones I've ever had. I mean, bar none. They would fight all the time, had all kinds of issues with it. I have very few issues with the jumbo pharaohs. They seem to just get along a lot better. They're a lot mellower. I do every once in a while have, birds with some feathers missing on the back of their head, but that's usually just breeding behavior and whatnot. I don't really have here, let me see. You need a link for that. Don't really have any kind of aggression issues with them. Give me a second here. I got to get a link for the, here. Let me just give you my Amazon shop link. It's like third one. It's on that page. You can't miss it. There you go. That's the Amazon shop. Where was I at with that? I kind of lost track. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, the aggression with the birds. When I've had, it wasn't working when you checked. Is it from my videos? Is not working? Huh. I have to check that out too. So yeah, when I've had other birds though that were not the jumbo pharaohs, it seems like all of them I had big problems with them with aggression. What is going on here? There we go. That's what I was looking for. Sorry, got to check something here real quick, guys. And see if my links are working. Yeah, seems to work. The one from my video description went right to my shop. I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, so Andy Pearson says, beautiful clear sky, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars are visible. Awesome. Isn't there something going on like this month with something with those? I can't remember what it was. I saw something. I can't remember if it was Venus and Mars and Jupiter all converging or something like that. I can't remember. Some kind of astronomical event. Astrological? No, I can't remember. Anyway, Andy Rabbit says, I turned the light on a stack of cages I have on the back porch a few weeks ago and started getting eggs the last few days. Yeah, it doesn't take long, really. Andy says, everybody from Southwest Michigan, or hey, everybody from Southwest Michigan, looking forward to warm weather next week. Yeah, no kidding. Bev says, I have all the common colors, but this jerk takes the cake. Yeah, I don't blame you. I know exactly what you mean, actually. I've had severe issues with aggression, and the worst of them all were the white ones for some reason. Joe Sandy says, I'll check again. Thanks, Chris. No problem. You're welcome. Rickson says, I heard you talk about selling your rabbits for $30 per. I don't know much about the breeds you have, but the one I have is being sold for around $75 per. I bet you could probably bump prices a bit. Well, I think it depends on your market a little bit, but also these are silver fox. They're more commonly sold as meat rabbits and things like that. So yeah, some of your pet rabbits, you sell like mini dwarfs or, dwarf or lop ears, mini lops or any of those kinds of things. They're going to bring a higher price for sure. And especially if you have like show lines or something. Bev says, wow, $75 per rabbit. Yeah, I know it's crazy, isn't it? You're in the wrong business. Well, I mean, maybe. I mean, $75 per rabbit's a really good price, but I mean, to make a living at it, you're gonna have to go through a lot of rabbits. That's a whole lot of work, But selling them for $30 a rabbit, I mean, that's like I said, I could either eat them, which they do provide food for the family, and that's good, or I could sell it for $30 and use that $30 to go buy food, and I can get a whole lot of food for $30. Not as much as I used to, but yeah. Andy Rabbit says it all depends on where you're at in the country too. Yeah, and really what kind of rabbits you have, because like I said, those the pet breeds bring a much higher dollar than the meat rabbit breeds do. Brixton says the ones at that price are good show quality, which aren't very common. Yeah, exactly. Buck Reynolds says, what kind of rabbits does he have? You're talking about the $75 rabbits? Polish. Yeah, I said it earlier, I think. Show quality Polish rabbits, basically. And also, I mean, the question too is $75 a rabbit, true, but what kind? I mean, how many of those can you actually sell? There's a certain point where you saturate the market and you're not going to sell anymore because you're not going to have probably the same people coming back to you over and over again to buy rabbits. I mean, they only want a couple, there's not an unlimited market for a $75 rabbit, I wouldn't think. Unless you're looking at going like nationwide and shipping or transporting or something like that. That could make a difference. That could open up your market quite a bit. That also adds a lot of cost to it. So $75 is not as good of a price anymore. But that's just my thought. What are we doing on time? Yeah, it's only 7:26. We got to slow down in chat tonight. And again, I need to have topics to discuss when this happens because I got nothing. The only thing going on here is, like I said, the cold. I mean, it's just stupid cold outside. Everything's frozen. We got tons of snow, and, it's just not good. Andy says, have you thought about your garden yet? Not much, actually. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it. I mean, I know pretty much the basics. There's not a whole lot of thought I need to put into it. But I don't know how much we're going to do this year. I think I'm kind of taking a slow year this year and maybe taking it off. I don't know yet. I may go ahead and plant the garden. I may not. I've been kind of lazy lately and just getting tired and thinking maybe I'll take some time off from the garden this year, but I don't know yet. Brixton says, for me, it's only an SAE project for FFA as I'm still in school. I don't plan on it long term. No, it's a good project. I mean, if you're in school, that's a good project for you to do in school. But But yeah, long term, to do it like for a living or something like that, you'd have to have a pretty big operation. Let's see, northwest corner, NW corner, radio Waffen, I guess is what that is. I don't know. It says hi. He's waving at me, so hello to you too. Bev Smith says, feel free to all brainstorm on my garden layout. LOL. I'm a total newbie in zone 10B. 10B. I'm not sure how 10B garden zone is Florida, South Carolina, and other regions. Oh, yeah. So you can grow just about anything you want, can't you? Yeah, it only gets down the average to 35 degrees. So, yeah, you can grow a lot of stuff there, I'm sure. Well, my standards are always, just the good old standards, tomatoes, jalapenos, some habaneros, because I like the habaneros quite a bit. If you like, bell peppers, do bell peppers. My wife doesn't like bell peppers, so we usually do poblanos in place of those. Okra, love some pickled okra. And cucumbers, like cucumber pickles too. I don't do a whole lot of melons or things. I've grown cantaloupe, and I did, a year or two ago. But my problem with cantaloupe or any of those melons really anyway is I'm not a huge fan of most of them. I like cantaloupe quite a bit, but all your cantaloupe comes ripe about the same time, and there's no way to really preserve it. So it's like you're just overloaded with cantaloupe, and I only really want a couple, So it's really just not worth it. What else is there that I usually grow? Green beans are a good one if you're new to gardening. They're fairly easy to grow, highly productive. I always go with bush beans. I like those better than I do pole beans. You don't have to trellis them. You can just grow them straight in the ground. They do really well, high yield for a small area to take up. What am I missing? What am I forgetting? Somebody will tell me. I don't remember. Anyway, Andy Rabbit says, I stopped by Baker Creek and got some seeds. Well, I got something like 7 packs of sunflower seeds. Interesting. I've grown some sunflower before. Not one of my favorite things to grow, but they're all right. Sax Place says, been researching quail feeds. All the layer feeds, 16 to 20% layers seems high calcium for 3.5 to 4.25 seems high for Coternics. It is actually. They only need like about 1 to 2%, somewhere right around in there. 16 to 20% protein is also a little bit on the low side. I'd like to see it bumped up 25, 26% at least, really. So yeah, I'd see, check your feed stores, see if they can get, order in something for you that might be a little higher protein, or look at Turkey Starter. That may be a little bit better deal. Chester Hickman says pink kit. Oh, wait. I missed a comment, didn't I? Chester Hickman said, why would I have a pink rabbit on a litter of blue New Zealand does? A pink kit. They haven't grown their hair in yet, I'm sure is what you're saying. So it's probably going to be white. I mean, there's a chance that they carry, probably a pretty good chance that they carry like a, what do you call that? Not the dominant gene, but the other one, the non-dominant gene. There's a word for that. Anyway, then to carry a non-dominant gene for like the white fur. So that's probably what it is. Probably a white rabbit. Andy Rabbit says, and a few other seeds I was wanting. Well, yeah, there's nothing. I like Baker Creek quite a bit. They're not quite as close to me as they are to you, so I don't get a chance to go out there, but I order from them. Terry Dutton says, is your quail laying eggs in the winter? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have lights on them. So, as long as you have lights, 14 hours a day roughly of light. So you add light to extend the daylight. Excuse me. They'll continue to keep laying. All my eggs are frozen right now, but they're laying pretty good and fertile. They're still breeding. So Jennifer says, my American Breeze started laying eggs when the weather got down to freezing all day. Yeah, that's the way it goes, isn't it? Kind of a Murphy's Law kind of thing. Let's see. Keone says, hopefully I pronounced your name right. Says, show quality rabbit breeders are also particular about who they sell to oftentimes. Someone paying that much for a rabbit may well be the competition in the future for a breeder. Well, that's true. That's a good point. Joe Sandy says, Chris, has the water ever froze up on you? We've been getting regularly below zero, and $53 is a lot. No, actually, like I said, it was -8 degrees this morning. Actual temperature. And it's in the closed-in side, so it's protected from the wind. That is important. You can't just leave it out in the open. If the wind's blowing on it, it might freeze up. But protected from the wind inside the closed-in shelter, but no supplemental heat or anything like that, and it didn't freeze at all. The lid was kind of stuck. I had a hard time getting the lid off, but the water itself was not frozen. The nipples weren't frozen. It was still flowing. So I have not had any issues with it. And I think, well below zero, -0, or -8 degrees, and it wasn't even kind of frozen. Andy Pearson says, I have a countertop hydroponic system. Just harvested a bunch of butternut lettuce. Okay, anyway. Starting baby romaine this week. Nice. Yeah, I've grown a little bit in hydroponic systems. And the one thing I've found is it doesn't seem like, now lettuce is not that big a deal. Lettuce does pretty well in it. But other things I've grown in hydroponic systems, they just don't have as much flavor to me. But, I'm going to do it again probably. But NW Corner Radio says, let's see, was that Northwest Corner, I guess? Anyway, it says, how have you been doing a garden in the past? I'm not sure exactly how to answer that. I'm not sure if you mean like, what have I been, I don't know what you mean by how have you been doing a garden in the past. I basically I do a no-till garden. I similar to like a sheep mulch or like a back to Eden, I guess you could say. Throw a lot of compost and like rabbit manure for those are my organic fertilizers basically on it, and then the top cover. In like a back to Eden or a traditional sheep mulch, you would use like wood chips or something as the top mulch, and instead I use a woven ground cover as the top mulch for that. I don't know if that answers the question. Kind of, I mean, that's how I do the garden in the past, but I'm not sure if that's what you're asking exactly. John F says, I have a few white saplings. I don't know what that is. I have one grafted already. So is that sapote? I don't know what that is. I'm going to look that up. Can't get my fingers to work right. So it's a fruit that grows on trees in central Mexico. Interesting. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that at all. Andy Rabbit says a pink kid at birth is a white rabbit. Yep. Yeah, it usually is. In fact, almost always, right? Kennedy says I plant more for the livestock anymore, it seems. Yeah. Well, that was part of the problem I had too. I've got an abundance of squirrels here, and I cannot, sometimes they don't bother my tomatoes too much, but a lot of times they do. But they definitely, they just destroy my fruit trees. I can't get anything off of them. Dane says, hello from Georgia. Late, but I made it. It's all good, man. We're just glad you're here. Northwest Corner says radishes are another good one. Oh, yeah, radishes, for sure. I didn't even think about that. But, yeah, radishes super fast, too, like 20 days from the time you plant them till the time you harvest them. If you like radish, that's the way to go. I love radishes. A little salt on them. They're fantastic. Green onions, that's another one. I eat those with salt on them, too. And Don says, good evening from chilly South Central Illinois. Today was graduation day from physical therapy since May 1st last year. Got a new lease on life. Well, awesome. I'm glad to hear that you are improving. Keone says, love elephant garlic. I've had some elephant garlic. To me, it's just kind of blah. It's not really that great. In fact, I've been looking for a really good, strong garlic. I like garlic quite a bit, but I want it to be like punch you in the mouth. I want it to be strong. And most of the garlic I've grown has been kind of a disappointment. It's just kind of mild and hardly much flavor at it. I'm one of those when it says, put a clove of garlic in it, I put 10. I want the garlic in there. Big Ross says, I'm growing a bunch of lemongrass to make tea with. Nice. Andy Rabbit says, my hubby's favorite flower is sunflowers. I like growing them out by the road where we park. Yeah, nice. Why not? Yeah, I've grown sunflowers before because my wife kind of likes them. Andy Rabbit says recessive white. There we go. I couldn't think the word recessive. Thank you. I knew somebody'd come up with it. Bev says squash, zucchini, tomatoes, of course, sweet potatoes, and all the lettuce. Bought 3 trellises, so hoping to grow what I can vertical. Yeah, you can grow a lot of that stuff vertical. Well, of course, tomatoes, you just need to cage them. Lettuce, not really vertical much. Squash, you can stake it and grow it up a stake. It's a little bit trickier. It's a little bit of work to do that, but it can be done. The thing you're going to have to watch out for with squash and zucchini is like squash bugs and vine borers. Those two things have been just a nightmare for me the last couple of years. So we took a couple of years off. I say the last couple of years. The last couple of years when we grew it. We haven't grown any in a couple of years because squash bugs were so bad. You just couldn't stay on top of them. And the vine borers too. But there's no, that's not a reason not to grow them, Bev says, I was wondering what to do with all my lemongrass. I just planted to keep the snakes away. I didn't know that lemongrass kept snakes away. Sax Place says to Andy Rabbit, blues are not a pure color. They were made so it will take many generations to get 100% pure color. Then a white may pop out. Yep, indeed. Yep, recessive gene. I knew you guys would get it for me. Don says, I started some cracky German giant radishes 3 days ago, and they are up and thinning out this morning. Nice. Never thought of growing radishes with a cracky system. Or is that a specific kind of radish? Let me see something here real quick. Yeah, hydroponic. Yeah, in the crack key setup, huh? Never thought about trying to grow radishes that way. I've grown lettuce that way, and it's fantastic. Matter of fact, I did videos on it at the time. It's a fantastic method for growing. Um, oh, Andy Pearson says buttercup autocorrect on the butternut lettuce. I think, yeah, that makes more sense. But anyway, yeah, I've not even thought about growing radishes with a crack key system. But I don't know. Well, my crack key system's not up there. I was going to bring it down, but it's a great way to grow lettuce and stuff. It works fantastic for that. So I guess it would work for radishes. Why not? SW says, hey, are you allowed to keep chickens in your town without a permit? Technically, you're supposed to have a permit, but it's just kind of like everything else. Nobody's driving around looking for people that have chickens and checking their permits. I mean, it's really one of those things. As long as you don't, annoy the neighbors and nobody complains, that you can get away with it. No big deal. But yeah, excuse me, they are allowed here. You are technically supposed to have a permit, but I don't know if everybody does that or not. I'm probably supposed to have permits for the things that I raise, and I don't do it. Joe Sadie says, I've been mixing 2 different feeds to get the proper protein calcium ratio. 29% turkey starter only has 0.5 to 8% calcium. Wait, 0.5 to 0.8% calcium. Do you think that would work without mixing another bag? Excuse me, that's a little bit on the low side for the calcium. Good protein though, but yeah, a little bit on the low side for calcium. Now you can always offer offer free choice additional calcium. Let them eat as much as they want. You don't have to worry about that too much. What I say usually is the calcium requirements for quail is about 1.5% usually. So, you're running a little low, but if you put, some calcium supplements like don't mix in with your feed, just put it separate. I mean, you could mix it if you can get the ratios right, but that's a little tricky to figure out. It's easier just to put it in a separate container and just let them eat of it as if they want to, and that'll be fine. Brixton says, did those baby rabbits survive that you were talking about last week? No, they didn't. They did not make it. I was kind of pretty sure they didn't make it. They didn't. Lost them. So going to rebreed her here again probably this next week when it's not -8 degrees and I can stand to be out there for more than just a couple minutes and see how she does on the next litter. She's on the right track. She had them all in the nest box. She pulled fur. Just this next time, hopefully she doesn't kick all the straw out and have them on the cardboard bottom. Sox Place says, we paid over $200 for a Netherland dwarf show rabbit. Daughter won best of show with it. The NRBA judge knew exactly the breeder when it hit the table. Interesting. Don says, I think it's crack key gardening has never changed the taste of any plants for me. If a tomato is lacking, choose one that won't, but it will be the same in dirt too. Yeah, I've never tried to grow tomatoes hydroponically. The things I have grown are like herbs mostly. And those, they didn't have as good a flavor as they do when you just grow them outside. I think the stress of being outside kind of helps with that a little bit, but I don't know. Northwest Corner Radio says, we definitely answered my question, LOL. I do raise beds with garden soil and compost here. Let me see who's messaging me here real quick. Oh, something can wait. I can deal with that later. So yeah, nothing wrong with raised beds. I don't do raised beds. I do I have a couple of small garden boxes, mostly for things like radishes, potatoes, garlic, onions, some of those kinds of things that are just hard to do with the woven ground cover I have. I don't have a lot of open space. Bev says, wow, that's a lot of carrots. Did I miss something? Was somebody talking about carrots? I missed it. Anyway, Bev Smith says, wow, that's a lot of carrots for a rabbit. I don't know. John says, white sapote is a tasty fruit. Yeah, never heard of it. I'm going to have to try it if I ever see it. Bev Smith says, yum, radish. I'll add that to the list. Yeah, radishes are great. They like I said, super fast, easy to grow. And 20 days from, plant the seeds to harvesting them roughly. Now you do want to harvest them like when they're ready to harvest. Don't let them go too long because if they start to bolt, they get real woody. They're not good at that point. David says, like button. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Andy says, anyway, I do hydroponics outside too. Tomato, peppers, cucumbers, do well. Master blend fertilizer is the key for flavor. Yeah, and to be fair, I do have master blend fertilizer. I've used it in my crack key systems, but mostly for growing lettuce. And the herbs and things I've grown are in like the Aero Garden stuff. So that may be a difference. I may try growing them in the crack key system and see how they do and see if that's any different. Don says, LOL, punch in the mouth. Yeah, I like garlic quite a bit. I want it to be strong. I want it to be, you eat a lot of garlic, you sleep well because you sleep alone. That's the kind of garlic I want. Keone says, I bake the elephant garlic with butter like a baked apple. Yum. Yeah, like I said, I've had it, but it's always just kind of been not that great to me. It's not bad, just not great. Let's see. Poodle Daddles says, I'm having a hard time finding a good used small incubator. That's tough to buy used sometimes. Not a lot of people just give those up. But, keep an eye on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. You'll probably come across something. Don says, Chris, I have a 3x3 cell trays that I put cocoa core in or over a 5-gallon bucket of hydro water. You need 3x3 and 3 inches deep cells for the radishes. So, okay, gotcha. Interesting. Andy Rabbit says, yes, blue to blue will give all blues, but white can always pop out if the parents have the CC gene. Yep, that's the way genetics work. Andy says, radish seeds taste pretty good sprinkled on salad. I've never tried to eat the seeds. It seems like a waste, but because, they're tiny. There's nothing to them, right? Southwest or SW says, have you ever raised celadon quail? They lay blue eggs. Yeah, I've had celadon quail before. They eventually just, sorry, I got distracted. Eventually, because they're just mixed in with my other birds. So eventually I just breed that gene out of them unintentionally necessarily. But it was kind of a cool thing at first, but it's kind of a novelty. It's really not that big a deal to me. Don says, I don't use Master Blend. I use General Hydroponics, Maxi Grow, and Maxi Bloom. Interesting. I'm not familiar with those. Let's see. I'll have to look those up. There they are, right there. Interesting. I'll take a look at those a little bit later. Another sip of my soda there. How we doing on time? We've got about 13 minutes left. Don says, I have 50 pounds of Master Blend, but never liked it, so stashed it and switched to Maxi Grow and Maxi Bloom powdered. Super easy. So you like them better. What did you not like about the Master Blend stuff? Kind of curious. Big Ross says, yeah, try the green seed pods. Let your radish go to seed. They're pretty good. Andy says, I have a few radishes go to seed once. Let them keep seeding because the seeds were good. Okay. I'm kind of curious what the problem with the Master Blend was, because I've got Master Blend fertilizer, and that's what I've used in my crack key systems before. I haven't done those in a little while. I need to get them going again. I was thinking, honestly, when it comes to Andy Rabbit agrees with you on that, on the radish seed pods. Anyway, what was I going to say? I forgot. I lost track. Oh, honestly, growing the lettuce in the crack key systems, it's actually easier than growing it in the ground. I like it quite a bit. Snacks Place says, deer eat all the radishes before they seed at my place. They love them. Good for food plots. Yeah, it seems like they would be, but man, you'd have to replant a lot, wouldn't you? That's a lot. Maybe not. I don't know. Poodle Daddle says, yes, the radish seed pods taste peppery. Well, I can imagine they would. Radish in general is kind of peppery, right? Don says, hard to mix for Master Blend and felt it was never right. Then I had issues, stuff died, and found out adding bubblers is what really killed them. Switched to crack key passive and never have an issue. Yeah, well, I use it in the... Oh, wait, are you the one? I'm losing track of who's saying what now. So Don is saying, okay, you don't like the cracky, or you don't like the master blend because it's hard to mix. I'm thinking is what you're saying right there. I never added bubblers to any of my stuff. It's just the cracky passive. I mean, that's what cracky is, right? So I don't know. I guess that's it. Hard to mix. It is kind of hard to mix up. So maybe you're onto something there. Sax Place says, yeah, we plant food plots 2 to 3 times per year. Yeah, the problem I have with food plots, I've tried to do that out where we hunt, but it's just we don't get enough rain in the summer, and everything just dies. I mean, it starts off great and looks great, and then by the time hunting season gets here, it's all dead because there's no water. Andy Rabbit says, I need to grow some radishes this year and let some go to seed now. Yeah. Don says, my cracky radishes keep 2 months in the fridge and are tasty. Yeah, I grow most of my radishes in my my green stock garden. You know, the tower. It's not a tower garden, but you know the green stock vertical planter that I have, which I do have discounts, by the way. Check my descriptions. There's a link to get discounts on that if you're looking for something, and they do great in there. Fantastic. I can grow 3 in each little pod thing. So I just kind of plant and then wait a week or two and plant, and then wait a week or two and plant. I have radishes all the time, but I like radishes quite a bit. I'm the only one that really likes them that much, so I don't do a lot of them, but they are tasty. I've never actually roasted radishes. I've always heard that roasting them is fantastic. I need to try it. SW says, would you ever get bees? I've thought about it, but I mean, it's kind of expensive to get into. Don't know. Maybe I would. I mean, I'm not against it. I've thought about doing it and just haven't done it. And Don says to Andy Rabbit, I need to get seed pods for sure. The ones I have now, I have roasted them too, and they are yummy. Yeah, I need to try that at some point. I've never actually tried roasting them because I usually just eat them as soon as they come out of the, as soon as I pull them out. I mean, I bring them in, wash them off, snip the top and the bottom off, salt them up, and eat them. They're just good. And Andy says, I haven't tried roasted radishes yet either. Someday. I need to. Yeah, I need to give them a try. Sax Place says, bees are a lot of work, especially with all the diseases that you have to fight and cold winters. Did it for 6 years and gave up. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I mean, I've thought about doing it, but I'm just not really sure that it's worth it, so I haven't done it. I did buy some honey a while back, made some mead, so it's still aging right now. Haven't, not out of that yet, but I made some mead with it, so it'd be nice to kind of have my own honey, I guess, to do that with, but, I can just buy it. Dawn says, 200 seeds of the hydroponics don't last long. I grow radishes every 30 days in hydro. They are done and easier than lettuce. Well, I can imagine they are. I mean, radishes are pretty easy to grow for sure. Lazy Homestead usually eat radishes raw as well, but they are fantastic to put in a crock pot with a roast and carrots. I bet that would be good. I haven't done a roast in a while, but I like, roasted carrots are one of my favorite things ever. You throw those carrots in with the pot roast, and man, that's just one of the best things ever. Well, along with potatoes. So I usually, in my pot roast, I usually do onion, potato, carrot, celery. Love celery in there too. And then cabbage. I like cabbage at the end. Just throw that in at the end for like the last half hour. Big Ross says, yeah, the sprouting bag is cheaper, LOL. The sprouting bag? I don't know what that is. I'll have to check that out too. Andy Rabbit says, I just found out Baker Creek does free shipping. I've never ordered from them. I've only gone to the store to buy. Well, yeah, it's not too far from you though, is it? Desert Homestead says a how to make mead video would be cool. Yeah, it's actually pretty easy. I should do a video on it. Let me see if this stuff turns out okay, because it'll be several months, because mead, you really need to let it age before it's any good. I mean, basically it's just honey wine is what it is. But if it turns out pretty good, maybe I'll share how I did it, and we'll do a video on it. Don says, I order from Baker Creek all the time. No shipping, so easy. So every time I want something, I go there. Yeah, I like Baker Creek quite a bit. Their new ads are pretty good too. I mean, I don't know if you guys get their Facebook ads. You get the hippie looking guy that's talking about. He's pretty funny actually. SW says, I love growing red deer tongue lettuce. It's not bitter and delicious. Andy says, Baker Creek is only about an hour drive from me. Well, that's still a little far just to pick up seeds, in my opinion. Yeah, just order them. Let them ship them to you. Even if there is a shipping fee, it's got to be cheaper than gas just to drive an hour. But yeah, Baker Creek, I like Baker Creek. They're one of my favorites. And I don't know how it works at the store, but when you order from them, they always send you a packet of free seeds along with it. So you always get something kind of interesting. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's kind of but you always get something kind of interesting from them. So Dawn wants to know from SW, where do you buy the red deer tongue from? I only get the green. Yeah, I've never heard of red deer tongue lettuce. Oh, what's going on here? Can't type today. There's like red deer tongue lettuce. Looks like there's some people selling it on Etsy, Fedco Seeds, Hudson Valley Seed Company. There's several links to it if you just do a search for it. Yeah, it looks interesting. And Dawn says, love the green deer tongue. Not familiar with that at all. I'll have to try it. Andy says, I'm only stopped when I'm driving through that way. They have a basket of free seeds on the counter. Oh, awesome. Dawn says, I bought the red one time off Etsy, not a seed germinated. Probably old. SW gets them from eBay, huh? Interesting. We got about 4 minutes left before we wrap this one up tonight. Interesting discussions. Some things I've never heard of, and kind of getting me excited. Maybe try to get the crack key system back out. I haven't done that in a little while either. Don says you can grow deer tongue lettuce in a jar. I always have some growing in a little spot. Yeah, I've got we got a couple of arrow gardens, and it actually does pretty well for lettuce. Is that deer tongue lettuce a cut and come again lettuce, or is it like a one-time harvest? Joe Sandy says, anybody do sprouts? I can't believe how easy they are. Yeah, I've done them before. Like broccoli sprouts. I've done microgreens. I've done all kinds of things before. Sprouts are super easy, but they're, I don't know, just not that great to me. Andy says, it's been a good live this evening. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Joe Sandy says, very nutritious. Yeah, I've done them. I even got a little special jar for them, excuse me. But I don't do them on a regular basis. So let's see. Big Ross says, I just got my water kefir grains today, so that's tomorrow's problem, LOL. Yeah. Don says, yes, you can cut and come again with deer tongue, also known as Amish deer tongue. Interesting. Bev says, I have a guy around the corner who grows sprouts. I order bi-weekly. And Bev says, if I don't eat them all, the quail love them. Yeah, I bet they would. I wonder what kind of sprouts does he grow? And Don says, I have microgreens growing all the time. I don't do sprouts much, only if I have quail. Yeah, I used to do quite a bit of microgreens, but honestly, it's just I don't know. I got tired of them, I guess, so I stopped doing them. My favorite's probably the sorrel. I love sorrel. It's so good. Joe Sandy says, I used to do water kefir a lot. I switched to dairy kefir. Jennifer says, what is a crack key system? You kind of have to look it up to really probably get the whole gist of it, but more or less what it is like I did a video on them a long time ago, actually. So you mix up like fertilizer into a container of water. I use little container like Rubbermaid type containers. I think I think it takes like 1 gallon to grow 1 head of lettuce, basically. So I use like a 3-gallon container. It's a little Rubbermaid type, box, food safe, I guess. Food grade. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. I cut a hole in the top of them. Little pool noodles. I basically cut to where it's like a clamp thing. Put my seedling in the middle there and hold it. And basically, it's just a set it and let it grow kind of system. So you don't have to. There's no pump. There's no oxygenation. Nothing. You just basically you fill it up with the fertilizer, and that's enough to bring the plant to maturity. It's pretty simple, straightforward, easy way to do it. Look it up, and you'll see kind of how it goes. Andy says, I love alfalfa sprouts. Yeah, alfalfa's pretty good too. Joe Sandy says, and kombucha. Big Ross says, I have mung beans sprouting in a jar in the fridge right now. I don't know that I've ever eaten mung beans, but who knows. Bev Smith says, broccoli, sunflower, radish, and pea sprouts. Broccoli sprouts are pretty good. I like those quite a bit. Sunflower's not bad. Joe Sandy says, ooh, sorrel, love, yum, yeah. It actually just grows in my yard too, so there's that. Don says, I like microgreens because 1/2 cup is like a plate full of veggies and can be mixed into what you are eating, fast and tasty. Yeah, but I mean, it takes a lot of microgreens to make a 1/2 cup, and a 1/2 cup's not a whole lot, not super satisfying, to eat. It's not, it doesn't fill you up, let's put it that way. That's why I don't grow them a whole lot. Andy says, I do them and stop for a while, then start them back up again over and over. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Joe Sandy says, my 3-year-old granddaughter loves sorrels. She helps herself whenever she's here. Glad it's a perennial. Yeah, no kidding. And like I said, it just grows everywhere. I mean, it's just wood sorrel grows all over the place. Bev says, I need to look up that video like I need another project right. LOL. Yeah, let me see if I could find it for you guys real quick. I could put you a link to it. Let me see how much time we got. Oh my gosh, we're out of time. You're going to have to look it up on your own. Go to my page. You can look it up. Hydroponics or Crack Key, I think probably will find it. All right, guys, I got to wrap this one up. And Jennifer says, what kind of fertilizer, please? Well, there's different kinds that you can use. What I use is a master blend tomato formula, and then there's also a mixture. You got to mix in like Epsom salt, and there's another, couple of things you got to mix together, basically. But if you look up that video, it goes through into specific detail for it. So, all right, guys, I got to wrap this one up. My wife is actually, because of all the snow, she got stuck in Miami, Oklahoma. That's where she works. It's about a 30-minute drive. She got stuck. She's been gone for 2 days. Just got home tonight. I had to stay at a hotel there the last couple of days. So I'm going to wrap it up. Go spend some time with my wife. Thank you guys for joining me tonight, though. We will see you guys hopefully next week. Don't see any reason why not. And as always, God bless.